this is injustice, this is wrong. It's easy to say that. I just said it right now. It was very easy for me to say that. It's harder to do the work. First, make it real with yourself. Then second, go out and enact change. Now before we get started, get crazy, go crazy, and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and definitely leave a comment at some point. If you don't know already, my name is Adriana. This is my channel, Adriana the Doula, where we talk about all things body, baby, and birth. Now, if you don't know already, I am a birth doula. I service Massachusetts, and my work is focused more so in Black maternal mortality, empowering women to make the decisions that they want for their birthing experiences, and as a doula, just creating an environment where families feel empowered to make decisions about their birthing experiences themselves. Now, first, I am so thankful, so grateful. If you didn't see it already, I'll link it somewhere here, wherever the eye is, and feel free to go and watch the last birth I was at. That mama was so strong, and she was gracious enough to allow me to record her birth for the purposes of displaying it to you guys and as a teaching tool, and for your enjoyment, of course, too. So I want to thank that mama so much. I can't thank her enough, honestly. And stay tuned for the part 2. It will be out very soon. I'm just waiting on a couple of things from the videographer that was there, but yeah, so definitely stay tuned for that. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about, I wanted to talk about 5 things that I wish I knew before I came into the doula world. Okay, these are 5 tips, 5 things that I wish someone would have sat me down and told me, 5 things that I wish that I would have been privy to, just 5 tips. Okay, I'm gonna try and do this quickly, but I want you guys to get all the information. If you are a new doula, if you're an aspiring doula, or if you are maybe a family who's thinking about having a doula at their birth, or if you're just some person who wants to watch this video, I see you, sis. Thank you for being here. If you are someone who is just interested in the birth world in general, these are important things to know, because I think the birth world is not talked about enough, unfortunately, and there's just a lot going on at all times. I've invested a lot of money in like going to buy tools and buying a new bag. I had just finished my training, so I had spent $500 on my training. I was saving up for a certification, which was another $500. There was just a lot of money involved. And my first tip for any doula that is or any person that's thinking about becoming a doula is that it takes no money to start. Okay, the word doula, it is a noun, but in my opinion, in a lot of ways, it's a verb as well. And to be a doula, you have to do, you have to start. It really is as simple as going and attending a birth and acting in a role that is supportive to that mom. Okay, and if you've done that already, if you attended your sister's birth, if you attended your best friend's birth, if you attended your mama's birth, if you attended your cousin's birth, it don't even matter. If you were there and you were supporting them and you were not a hinder to their environment and you were protecting their environment, you were their doula. Okay, whether they knew it or not, whether you knew it or not, you were their doula. Okay, the first thing that I wish I knew was that it takes no money to start. I spent all this money investing in tools, investing in different pages and things like that, and it really didn't take any money to start. Just do it and you will do well. Okay, the second tip that I have is there is so much power in your community, in your network. Okay, everyone knows someone who had a baby. You know someone who had a baby. It really is as simple as knowing someone who had a child, or is thinking about having a child, is pregnant, thinking about having children, and approaching them in like a manner where it's like, oh, I want to become a doula, I want to learn more, I would love to attend your birth in a supportive fashion. These are the things that I can offer you. Would you be interested in that? It's really that simple, and that's how I approached my first 2 births.
In the waiting room, waiting for them to call me, so that she can go in and then I can go in. Oh, she's already went in, but for them to put the PK and stuff. Oh, it's so stressful. Wish me luck. Through
your experience. And actually the first birth that I attended, I really didn't mean to attend, but I ended up attending it anyways, and I used it as a learning experience, and it also really excited me. and got me into thinking about, okay, how can I make this career? How can I do more in the birth world? So there may even be a doula group for your state or for your community, for your city on Facebook. Go to those groups, join those groups, get to know everyone, because those are the people who are really active in those communities, and they can let you know more. And a lot of the times, 70 to 80% of the times, these people want to encourage more people to know about the birth world, so they'll accept you in with open arms. If you are really wanting to start and you just don't know where to start on Facebook, start online, start on Facebook, on Instagram, local mom groups, local pregnant support groups, newborn classes, things like that. Find those moms. Those are the moms who are seeking out the knowledge and information, and those are also where you'll find other doulas. And that kind of leads me into my third tip, which is to connect with other doulas. The third thing that I wish I knew before I became a doula is how catty doulas can be. I'm a very social person. I like to offer my help. I like to give help. I like to know people. And there are some doulas out there who are very competitive and who are also very much wanting to dominate the field. And when I say dominate the field, they want all of it. They want all the clients, all the referrals, every single thing. And you'll find that in your community, okay? You'll find a person or people who just are always in the mix, okay, and who want every client and who respond to every referral. And I'm saying this because I want new doulas to be more cautionary when it comes to maybe joining different doula groups, with organizations, with doula groups that you may interview for. I would say it's really important to practice solo first before you join a doula group, because there are some tricky people out there, okay? And it's important to read all your contracts, all your agreements, and know what the expectations of you are as a doula before you join any organization or any group, okay? So that would be my third tip, that there are people out there, there are doulas out there, and doula groups and doula organizations out there that are very much not invested in your growth as a doula. They're more invested in the growth of their company, and so they will act in very catty, unprofessional, petty ways in order to advance their group, their organization, and not necessarily to invest in you, okay? So definitely know that beforehand. The fourth thing that I wish that I knew before I became a doula was that not every client is your client. That's the truth of the matter. Not every person who contacts you, not every person who emails you, not every person that you have a consultation with is meant for you. And I say this because when someone is hiring a doula, it's very important that when someone is hiring you, it's very important that you know what their expectations are, that you lay out what your services are. It's very important that you lay out your services and what you offer and make them very, very clear, because there are people that are going to approach you whose expectations are not realistic to what a doula does, okay? We're not midwives, we're not OBs, we're not therapists, although sometimes we can act in a very therapeutic way. We are not licensed therapists, unless you are a licensed therapist and that's part of your practice. Go ahead, sis. It's very important. We're not organizers, we're not decorators, we are not mechanics, we're none of those things. We're doulas, and our work is very specific. And it's important that when you meet a client, that you make sure that your services, what you offer the client, what you are going to be doing for that client is very, very clear, and that nothing can be misunderstood. The other thing that I mean when I say that not every client is for you is that not every birthing space is meant for you, okay? There are certain birthing spaces, for example, someone who may have a history of trauma, someone who may have had a history of sexual abuse, someone who may have had a miscarriage before, lost a child before, is a high-risk pregnancy. Those are very specific and sacred spaces. Every birthing space is sacred. Let me start off by saying that. But there are very special circumstances that require a very special level of understanding and a level of discernment, okay? And that's the best word that I can use for it, because if there are ways that you will talk to a client who's had multiple miscarriages versus a way that you would talk to a first-time mother. There are certain words and there may be a certain tone to my voice when I'm talking to a first-time mother who needs direction versus when I'm talking to a mom who's lost children, and I need to be more sympathetic and I need to be more approachable. In a lot of ways, with first-time mothers, with moms who are lenient and not necessarily taking charge of their birthing experience, and as a doula, you want them to command the space, okay? And so you want to reinforce in them that they have the ability to command the space, okay? And that's really important. There may be instances where you have a mom who has trauma, a mom who's high risk, where you would not necessarily, this is a space, although she's in control, this is her birthing space, where there may be an extra level of security going on when it comes to the hospital medical staff. There may be extra alerts going on, and so therefore as a doula you need to approach it differently. The other thing that I mean when I say that not every client is for you is that not every client is going to like your personality, is going to mesh with your personality, and vice versa. It's not every client that you're going to necessarily like. You're not going to necessarily like their personality, and that means that that client is not for you. If you cannot sit in a room with them or sit in a consultation with them, go to a prenatal with them and feel like you like them as a person, that is not a client that you need to be in their birthing space, because that will come out in their birthing space, and that's the last thing you want to do to someone. And when I say that not every client is for you, that means that there's someone else out there for them, and what you can do, the best thing that you can do for that person is to refer them to someone else. That's the best thing that you can do. And there also may be very specific situations and circumstances that makes it so that that client's not for you, meaning that their due date is not conducive to your schedule, it does not go with your schedule. Maybe you have too many clients that month. Maybe you have a very special event that month that you cannot miss. It's very important that when you're creating your schedule, when you're taking on clients, when you figure out your client load, that you also take into consideration that you have a life, like you have a personal life, and not every due date is meant for you, and not every person who comes to your doorstep, not every person that comes to your email, not every person that inboxes you is your client. And you need to be able to be clear with that person that I'm not the doula for you, unfortunately. But here's a list of doulas that I think are great and that I refer to, and that's why it's important to build your community in a smart way, okay? The last thing that I wish that I knew before I became a doula is how flawed our medical healthcare system is. I went into doula work a bit blind. I can admit that now. I was very blind in a lot of ways, and very naive in a lot of ways as well. I felt as though, you know, I was going into the system that, you know, of course wasn't perfect, but I could do work in. Like, as a Black woman, that wouldn't affect anything. As a woman, that wouldn't affect anything. As a Black woman, that wouldn't affect anything. As a person who hasn't birthed their own children, that wouldn't affect anything. As a person who is from a lower middle class, as a child of immigrants, as a person who's had certain kinds of traumas, that wouldn't affect anything. As a doula, your entire experience, your entire personhood comes with you when you go into someone's birthing spaces, okay? And I do a lot of work, and I think it's important that other doulas do a lot of work in trying to heal some of the issues that they might have before entering someone else's birthing spaces, so that you don't bring those issues with you. But it's inevitable. Your experiences will follow you into someone's birthing spaces. So it's very, 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 very important that you are doing the work as a doula to heal yourself, and to realize also that you're going into a flawed system. You are not going into a perfect system. Not every OB that you meet is going to be going to be friendly. Not every nurse you meet is going to be friendly. Not every midwife you meet is going to be friendly. Not every person or healthcare provider has your client's best interest at hand when they make decisions. That's the truth. We're coming into a system, a medical healthcare system, where Black maternal mortality is real. It's a real thing. Black women are dying at a rate of between 2 to 3 to up to 5 times more than their white counterparts. We're coming up against a system where poverty, race, educational status, class, social standing, mental health, history of trauma, pre-existing conditions, all these things are dictating the way that we are cared for in our healthcare system. And so it's really important that you do the work to educate yourself. And one of the things that I wish that I knew was how flawed our system was, and so I could better equip myself in the first couple births that I attended. It's easy to be outraged, right? It's really easy to say, this is injustice, this is hard, this is injustice, this is wrong. It's easy to say that. I just said it right now. It was very easy for me to say that. It's harder to do the work. First, make it real with yourself. Then second, go out and enact change, and to educate yourself. It's harder to do that. That requires more time, more effort, more resource. It requires more of you to say that I want to change the system. It's easier to say like, oh, this is flawed, but I'm still gonna go in it. It's harder to say I'm gonna do something to change this system. And so those are the 5 things that I wish that I knew before I became a doula. I am so honored to be here with you guys, to be in your living room, in your car, in your bedroom, in your office space, wherever you are listening to this. I'm so honored to be here. I'm so honored that you clicked on this video and you wanted to hear about the 5 things that I wish that I knew before I became a doula. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, definitely leave them in the description box below. Hit the like button down there somewhere, and definitely hit the subscribe button so that you can stay up to date with all new videos and all things going on with Adriana the doula. I've started a new segment with birth stories. I'm so honored and so proud that this mom let me film her birth, and I had a mom before, actually. My very first video, you can see that as well. I think it's natural unmedicated delivery in hospital. In my channel, I'll link it somewhere here. I had another mom who let me film her birth as well, and it was magical, and it was a hospital setting. I just had a home birth, which was amazing, and that mom allowed me to film as well. And so those 2 videos are there. I'll link them somewhere over here. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Adriana the doula. This is my channel, Adriana the doula. I hope that you're feeling empowered in your body, empowered with your baby, and empowered in your birthing experiences. I love y'all so much. I really do. Bye.
I just wanna take another look at you so our eyes can finally meet. I just wanna take another